And we're live. Welcome to Music Matters with Jason Tramm. We're so delighted you can join us for our unique podcast community, where we explore the issues and challenges in the performing arts world as seen through the eyes of distinguished colleagues. Thank you so much for joining us. You can see our work on our social media accounts, on Facebook, on Instagram. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and hit that bell for the most up-to-date information on upcoming guests and topics. And like and share our videos. We really appreciate that. We are a community of artists and people who love that art, and we love that when people join in. Please remember to use the chat feature to ask questions. We love it when you join the conversation, and we're always delighted to have people join us. So thank you so much. We have a wonderful lyric soprano, Miss Meroe Khalia Adeeb, who is just a wonderful, glorious lyric soprano, and we're delighted that she can join us. Welcome, Meroe.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much.
So glad you're here tonight.
Also go by Meroe.
Very nice.
Yes, my family does call me Meroe though.
Meroe. Well, we're so glad you're here tonight. So, what's happening these days? You're living in New Jersey?
Yes. Living in Essex County, New Jersey as of 3.5 years ago. And I have a loving husband and a little 2.5-year-old toddler son that keeps me very busy. And he is currently learning an opera role with me.
Wow. Got to start them young. Got to start these musicians young. The next generation. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be working on a Handel opera, and there's this duet that is like really upbeat and fun, and he is into it. He's totally into it. So I'm like, yes, let's sing this together.
I love to hear people learning operas during this exact time period. This is for a production that's starting to plan and is coming together.
Yes, it's going to be virtual originally. So it's a co-production between two companies, and it hasn't been publicly announced yet, so we'll get back to you with details.
But it's so exciting to hear companies start to plan ahead, that artists like yourselves are learning their parts, putting it together. We're all dusting off the pipes and making sure that they're ready to go.
Yes, and it's been really nice to work with a composer Handel that I have not had a lot of experience with. I did cover Romilda in Xerxes back at Glimmerglass a couple of years ago, but aside from that, I haven't really gotten into Handel that much, so this is really exciting.
Well, we've seen an explosion of Handel in the last 10 years, and and the lyric voices like yourself are singing some of those roles. I know Renee Fleming did them to start that kind of renaissance, but I always like grand voices on these parts, and that gives you tonal warmth and clarity. I love that.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to continue to develop in my voice. It's exciting.
So why don't we take a look at your journey as an artist? I know you've been all over the country, and you've lived. You were born in L.A. and lived in Maryland, and then you went to school in different parts of the country. Did you always know you wanted to be a singer?
In the beginning, when I was little, yes, I did, and stage fright came and took charge, and I stopped singing almost entirely throughout grade school. Aside from choir here and there, I was terrified. So I stopped singing and I tried other things that was nice and fun. But once I got into college and joined the choir at Tuskegee University, I had to have it, had to have music. And so I was getting a business degree, but I had to figure out, okay, I have to continue singing. I can't stop this after graduation. And I knew that choir wasn't going to be enough to feed my soul, my musical soul. So I started looking for programs so that I could get a second bachelor's because my school did not have a music major.
Okay, so Tuskegee didn't have a music major. And now, what was it like singing in that very distinguished choir?
That was awesome. That also afforded me the ability to travel because we did a lot of alumni tours during our spring breaks. And so I got to visit all throughout the Midwest, the South, up the East Coast, and sometimes I had family in different cities, and so that was really exciting. And the alumni they took great care of us. We came and we just gave them back a piece of their heart. and I got to see different parts of the country, which was amazing. But also being in that choir gave me the exposure to a small program that took students from my school over to study in Italy. And that's when I really got my first taste of opera. And I was like, it's confirmed. I'm doing this.
Once you're bitten by the bug, there's no
Right.
turning back.
I couldn't turn back.
And there's nothing like making music and studying in Italy. Oh.
A friend of mine was saying the other night, we were having this group conversation. He was saying, I didn't choose opera. Opera chose me because my voice naturally lended itself to this genre. And it's the same exact thing for me. I had heard opera and seen operas before because my parents exposed me and my sisters to everything. But it was once I got in choir and was singing in the classical style, and it was natural for me to use vibrato, and it was natural for my body to project my voice, and I liked it. So I loved it. I had to have it. So that's how I started singing, is from the choir and my voice just naturally leaning itself in this direction.
You have the instrument, and someone discovers that instrument, pushes you in that direction. You have some of your first successes, and so where did you go for your master's degree?
So I went to SUNY Binghamton in upstate New York, and while I was there, I got a chance to do a couple of roles with Tri-Cities Opera. Now they have a relationship with the university, so part of my thesis was to do roles at this regional company, which was excellent. So I got to sing Don Elvira, and I got to sing Gilda in Rigoletto. So that was amazing.
That's an incredible master's degree. I know a lot of my colleagues who went to that program have done very well for themselves, been through that program, and it's a great chance to learn wonderful roles and to be immersed in your studies, to study your master's, and to perform on the professional stage. Great.
And that program is heavily focused on performance. So almost all of my classes, we had to get up and sing. So I was really able to work on that stage fright that I had, that I still had as a child, but I was able to work through it. But in my master's program, that's when it was kind of like, okay, we're good. Still nervous sometimes, but it wasn't sabotaging my performances anymore because I was just singing in front of people all the time.
Yeah, it's that getting in the routine of performing regularly
every day.
So what solved that for you? Is it just the routine of doing it, or do you still feel like that when you get on the stage at an important performance?
Yeah, I still get nervous. I do, but vocal technique helps, to rely on your vocal technique and just to have, your coaches and your teachers giving you the tools you need. Like, okay, first of all, you have to be uber prepared. If you're guessing what word comes next or what's that melody
again, it's not
again,
going to go well.
It is not going to come to you in front of an audience. It's just not. I've had times where I knew my music so well, but I got on stage and I was like, uh-oh, what comes next? But I knew it so well that it came out of my mouth anyway.
Muscle memory kicks in, and I've been in the pit. I've never conducted. I've been a regional conductor my whole life. I've never had a prompter. I've been the prompter for every show, and I've worked with a lot of singers who I can tell by the look in their eye if they're not sure if they're about to jump an entrance. I'm like this, and I go like this, and
it's
I bring
terrifying.
Wait. I always view the conductor's role as to help the singers and to be like
Yes.
part of that team that makes it easier for the singers who have such a hard role.
I'm sure that I love a conductor like you, because sometimes, hey, we're human, we make mistakes. There are some conductors that are like, I'm not giving you a cue. Even to the chorus, they're like, you're supposed to know. Or I'm
Good
not
luck with that.
like, well, we're gonna sound a mess then. If you're not gonna help us out, fella, we need help.
I teach my undergraduates that you can hear when it's the conductor's fault in the sound. Like there's certain signatures that if you don't prepare for an entrance and they need you, you're going to hear like horns go blap. You're going to hear brass crack, because if you don't prepare a nice breath, it's not going to happen. It's like everyone needs that moment to prepare. So you ready? And go, and that just makes everyone to relax, because it's hard enough, all the demands on a singer and the artist is that they anything to help them makes it easier.
Yeah, it's so nice when you can trust that your conductor is supporting you and is with you. That is such a wonderful feeling.
I was a singer, and when I made the transition from being a singer to a conductor, I became like a scientist. I would watch every conductor I was working with, taking notes. That worked. That didn't work. That worked. That didn't work. And you kind of trial and error over the years. You kind of see what works, and just take that with you, and you keep on expanding. And
Yeah.
I still like that. I love to watch conductors. I love to sit in rehearsals at the Met, or I just love to be there, a fly on the wall, and to watch the process happen. It's magic.
Me too. It is. No, it seriously is. And I don't understand a conductor's brain. That's a lot of responsibility.
Neither do we.
That is a lot of responsibility.
Well, I just love working with singers. It's always been a
Yeah.
pleasure of mine, and to watch people do, to be a part of that is always exciting as an opera conductor. So, what was your first role on the stage?
My first role was Nanita in Falstaff. So I attended Martina Arroyo's Prelude to Performance in 2012. Yeah, 2012. And I didn't sing the role there. What they call audited the role. So I wasn't technically even a cover, but I was studying the role and I sang in the chorus. Okay. They coached me all summer. I got to observe the two young ladies that they cast, and they were pretty good. Okay. Both of them. And I learned everything that I could. And then I went back down to school because I was still studying. I was studying at Louisiana State University at the time. And they have a small regional company there called Opera Louisiana, and I was cast to sing Nanetta there. And I was like, this is perfect because it was only about 2 months in between the two productions, and I knew
Ready to go.
I was so prepared. And thank God, because I didn't really know how to prepare a role yet at that stage of my development. And so Prelude to Performance helped me, coach the crap out of that role. And so when I got to those rehearsals, I was good to go. I
It's a
knew
great feeling.
everything. So that was excellent. And then, then afterwards, I knew how to prepare a role better. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Now, Tri-Cities must have prepared you very well, because right after that you started to place and to come in the finals of some very big competitions, like the Mid Atlantic region,
Mid-Atlantic region,
Opera.
yeah. I that's for the Met competition. I had done the Met competition a couple of times. No luck. And my second year of my master's is when I advanced to the regionals. And I was just like,
That's exciting.
so exciting. And it was so much pressure because only so many people go through, and I was competing against all these people from AVA. But also I was like, I'm with the AVA people, and I'm not even at that school. I'm on this little school nobody's heard of in upstate New York, and I'm here with the conservatory girls. Okay. So I got second place. Like, I beat most of them. So I was just like, I didn't win. Of course, I was like, I'm going all the way to the Met. And I didn't. But I got far. Okay.
That's amazing. And what did you sing? What was your rep?
I sang Caronome. I sang Caronome. And then the second piece that they had me, what was the second piece they had me sing? Get back to me. There was another girl. I don't know. I don't remember right.
I'm always fascinated with what they choose, because as sitting on that side of the panel, we're always going to say, what can we do to show the opposite side of that technique, and to look for flaws, or look for what the artist brings to the table, or emotionally and articulate. It's always wonderful. To kind
I'm
of
thinking it
explore.
was Je veux vivre. And there was another soprano in the same competition who sang all of my exact rep. Like, I think we had one aria different from each other, and they had both of us sing the same pieces.
Oof.
Very interesting.
No pressure, right?
Very interesting.
But being a lyric soprano, that's going to happen. That's bound to happen. The lyrical rhetora.
It went well, though. It went well. And yeah, after that, I started, it's just another way to put yourself in front of decision makers.
That's right.
And to meet people. And I've gotten gigs from, like, opera gigs from competitions. That opera, like, not even winning the competition, but a conductor from some other company being in the audience and coming up to me afterwards and saying, "That was stupid. You should have won." And then emailing me later are you available for this gig? Yes, I am. Thank you.
It's
Let's
exciting.
work
Your
together.
voice has grown into the more lyric rep. I see
Yeah.
Bohème on there and Traviata and some of these great heroine roles. How has it been stepping into that repertoire?
Scary at first. So when I first, you try arias out with different coaches, you see how it fits. And when I was, so I started studying Sempre Libera. Okay, fine. It's cool, great for competitions, great for learning technique. And when I was presented with the opportunity to do the role, I was like, "Are you sure?" Because I didn't know how I was going to feel in my voice. I talked to my voice teacher about it. She was like, "Absolutely." Especially because it was at Tri Cities, so it was, a company I had worked with before. The orchestra is not too big and the house isn't too big, so it was a safe place to try out roles. And so once I got to working on that role, it felt like a glove, and I was like, "This is amazing."
I love that role for the reason you get to be three different. You get to be the coloratura in Act One, you get to be the lyric in Act Two, and you get to be more dramatic in Act Three. And
Yeah,
it's what a great chance to really. It's the Sopranos' dream role, one of them.
it was amazing, and I only got to do one performance,
Oh,
but then I did get to do it again with the Westminster Choir College and do two performances. So now I'm waiting on another chance.
well, that'll come soon enough. That those times will come,
Yeah.
and what's it like doing it the second and the third time? I know I've done about 30 or 40 Traviatas, and every time I do that score, I see something. Every time I take out, I've got all my I've conducted about 25, 30 operas. I've got them all in my music file. I take them out and I open it, and I have all the places and the dates where I conducted and who was in the cast. So they're
Um,
starting to get all over the scores now, but each time it's like, oh, it's like a time capsule. And I kind of think back. I can remember the theater. I can remember the dressing room. I can remember kind of the cast dynamic. It's
Beautiful.
so much fun, but they're always slightly different because every
Yeah.
time you do a piece of art, it's like with a different cast, a different place, with a different acoustic. So it's always changing. So I look forward to you doing it again a couple times down in your career and to
Yeah.
seeing how the role changes.
Yes, yes. And also my voice has changed. My voice is filled out a lot, especially in the middle to lower register. So Traviata really helped me to enhance my middle register. Bohem, which came the following year, helped with the middle to low.
Oh yeah,
And then the year after that, I got to do Suor Angelica with piano. That was working on
nothing like Swore Angelica. That's such a
and
great
mixing
role.
in that chest voice. I was like, whoa. Oh, and I had just had my son. So
So Swore
that
Angelica
was a
and
lot.
having your son, you're like the third soprano I've had on the show, who of dear friends of mine who talk about how it's different once you've had a child and you
Oh,
sing a
yeah.
role like Butterfly or Swore Angelica. What's it like playing a role like that and going through your experiences?
You have to you have to take yourself a little too far emotionally to learn, and this is with every role. You have to take yourself a little too far emotionally to learn how far you can go and still sing well.
Yes.
Because if you get too much into the character, then your throat closes up and you can't sing, and that's your job, honey. So I had to tell myself like, do not think about Kai. Do not think about Kai. And then he popped in my brain, the throat closes up and everybody's like, it's okay. But it was early in the rehearsal process.
Yep,
So
that's why we
I
have rehearsals.
yeah, I give myself permission to do that early in the process, and I allow myself to be vulnerable in front of people because it is part of my process of art making, and I feel safe doing it. And then I learn, okay, not there, two steps back, and I can still sing beautifully. If I go too far, I cannot sing beautifully anymore, and that's the point. No one came to see me legit cry like that's not what they actually want. They want to cry.
They want to cry. They want to
They
feel
want
that emotion,
Yeah,
and
they want to feel it, but they want you to keep it together.
that's where your technique locks in. It's that
Right.
That's the complete. The artist has to be expressive, but also has to be technically sound. There's that mixture
Exactly.
that makes the artist.
Yeah. So yeah, at a certain point, you think about the emotions. Other points, you just think about the technique because it's intense, depending on
Those
the
roles
part
are
of
some of
the
the
show.
hardest, right?
Yeah, Bohem Act 3 was the hardest for me personally. I struggled with that.
I love conducting Bohem Act 3. I love any of the standard rep. That's some of my favorites. I
Yeah,
just
I love
did a
it
bunch
too.
of Bohems.
It's- I just can't wait to get back to it.
So, what are some of the roles that you would like that you put on your horizon? Some of the next
Oh, I
chapter
think I
roles.
have a list in my phone.
We're gonna put them out there
That
and put them
list.
out there to the world, and
You
let
know,
the
yes. At one point, I even had like, speaking of Handel that we were talking about earlier, I was like, I want to sing Cleopatra, but there's just so many arias.
goes on for 4 hours. Those I saw Rosalinda at the Met when they opened the season with it, and they put the dream team cast: David Daniels, they had Renee Fleming, they had Stephanie Bly. I mean, it was like the dream team cast. And I'm like, after the third and a half hour, I'm like, okay, another Da Capo aria followed by another Da
A lot. It's a lot.
And I mean, even with that cast, it was a challenge to make it interesting because it's a static. It really takes a great director to make that music interesting.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I really want to, in no particular order, I really want to sing Countess. And I almost had an opportunity, but I think the board decided not to do the show. And then the pandemic happened. Maybe not in that order, I don't remember. But, the offer was made. And so at least, um, you know, we know that it's a possibility for the future. I want to sing Pamina. I've never done a German opera in German. I've only done them in English. What's up
Huh.
with that? Yeah, I need to sing me a Pamina. I need to sing a Michaela. That's my French audition aria that I use right now. And it's like, it feels great. And the role is not that much bigger than the aria. So I need to sing that. I want to sing Liu. I want to sing Manon. No, that would be a doozy. That is a
Great
long.
aria, great show.
Oh
How
my.
about Butterfly? Is Butterfly somewhere on the
So
horizon down
I'm
the
not
road?
sure. Not now.
Okay.
We'll see what happens in a few years. Now, the concert that I did, and you played a piece earlier, that was a Puccini concert. And I did sing Butterflies aria on that concert because they wanted all Puccini music, and we went through, a couple of different options, and they chose that, and it's fine for that purpose. The whole role, not yet.
It's one of those roles. It
Check
was the
on me.
most difficult ever written when it was written. So, but it's one of those
Oh,
roles that I
poor.
hear when I listen to your Bohem. I'm like, I hear that down the road. I hear it. I hear the
I'm gonna
color and the
send
richness
you.
of the voice.
So I have recording of that piece, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh, I can't wait.
But I haven't posted it because I need to streamline my rep, or at least what's public. It's fine to try things out. It's totally fine. Didn't
So
hurt
let's
you.
talk. Let's talk to younger singers. We have a lot of younger singers listen to the program.
Oh yeah,
What's
no.
it like being a singer in the career? The voice is constantly changing. How do you negotiate that? How do you work with that? And what's it like having to change roles, learn new roles, add, subtract?
Yes, you have to try. You have to try things out, and you have to have a couple of people on your team that you trust with your voice. Not too many, because if you have more than like four or five, that's just too many people's opinions, and they will start to contradict, and you will be like, huh, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
But if you just have a couple of people on your team, your teacher, a couple of coaches, a mentor, they're going to help you go into one direction, and you try things out in this direction. And you have to really get to know your own voice and see how it actually feels. And of course, record yourself and listen to that. And you need to be singing in the morning, noon, and night when you're sick and when you're not. I mean, not like sick, but you
Not on the
you're
chords, but
protected.
anything else.
But you have to see all of the range of what your voice can do. And then what's it like next year? Okay. that aria that you tested out when you were a freshman that was not quite right, try it now and see what it's like. Is it any good now? And then as your body develops and as you age, your voice might fill out some. Awesome. Try something a tiny bit bigger.
Like a fine wine, right?
Right, even within opera roles, the first aria might be much lighter than the act 2 or act 3 aria. So try that character's next aria and see how that fits. For instance, I think I talked about Je veux vivre earlier. Okay, great moves, light, lyrical. Now the poison aria, that's different. Okay, now I've taken it to my teacher and she's like, just put it in the back of your binder, like don't throw it away completely. But it's so middle voice heavy, and my middle voice is still developing. And that's fine. That's fine. So while she develops, we're gonna stay just a notch under poison aria.
Now, who have you had the same teacher for a long time, or is someone
Yeah.
new? How long have you had your
Well,
teacher?
5 years, 5.5 years. So I started studying with her. Her name's Laura Brooks Rice, and I started studying with her right after graduate school. So she's great.
Now, what is it about that? Obviously, a wonderful teacher and
Yeah.
has distinguished career she's had. What are some of the things that make that click with you? Because it's such a personal, like the teacher
Yeah.
singer relationship is such a personal one.
She has she's very good at catering her message to the individual. She has more than one way of saying the same thing. So if you don't understand it this way, or if that doesn't resonate with you, she can find another way to teach you the same lesson. And so we've been doing these virtual studio classes on Thursday nights. And so, like tonight. And so it's nice to hear like people of different age ranges, different voice types. There's men and women in the class, and she's able to say things that she's to them that she says to me in a different way. And I'm like, oh, yes, actually, that works for me too. But
That's really
she
interesting that she
worded it
does a
different.
studio class for adults. I like that. I've only heard that conservatories. I love the
I
idea.
know. And it was another thing that started during the pandemic. I think it started in August. And that first class just fed our souls. We were like, I needed this just to sing for people with our little YouTube accompaniment. And we're like trying to
It
figure
doesn't
out
slow down with you or speed up with you.
oh, for Puccini, it's the
Ugh.
worst. It's horrible trying to sing Puccini with a pre-recorded track.
One of my
Unless
dear
someone
friends is a coach at Juilliard, and the students were getting ready for the Met competition, and
Mm,
we had this conversation. How do we do the recits?
I don't
Just simple things. If we were together, it would take no time at all. We just look at the singer, breathe together, we're done.
right.
It become almost impossible. They had to like count the seconds that would be in the recits, so the singer could count the seconds. I
And
mean,
then you have these odd breaths.
ugh.
It's so
Yeah, it's never going to be organic. It's just
weird.
not.
But it's still been so nice to hear her teaching style for a tenor, for a mezzo, for a soprano. I'm trying to think, are there any baritones in that group? I can't remember right now. But it's been really nice because outside of grad school, it's only been one-on-one. Unless it was, the context of an opera rehearsal, but it's only been one-on-one. So it's so nice to sit and listen to other people and hear and then try it out because, we're all on mute. So it's like, they can't tell I'm trying it out too. Okay. If I-
Singers, conductors, musicians always have to be like scientists, always kind of refining and experimenting, and
right.
every day is another day. And that's what I love about opera is every time I conduct an opera, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Sometimes like same with an orchestra, it's not always the same, but when you do 4 rehearsals and a performance with an orchestra, it's pretty much set. When you do an opera, anything can happen. The curtain can have a problem. The
Ah,
singer, her breath, maybe the singer's breath isn't 100% that night, or they don't want to hold the high note as long. So I've got to be in the moment. Like there's just never a dull second in opera, and you can't relax ever.
there's nothing like live theater. There's just nothing like it. And that's what's missing with this virtual stuff is the audience. I need to see them and feel their energy. Like whenever we rehearse operas, we like we're rehearsing, we're rehearsing. Okay, okay, I'm ready to get this in front of an audience because that's the cherry on top. That is the last final component that I need, and pretty much all of my friends need. I need that last piece in order to be an actual performance. So it just doesn't feel right. It's not the same.
So let's talk about the COVID period that we've been in for interminably long time. What are some things you've done during this period to keep your skills sharp? Just curious. I've had this is our 95th episode, and we've had 95 different solutions to these challenges, and people have been innovating in such interesting ways. And I'd just love to hear how creative people innovate.
I took a break. Yeah, I took a break. And when I came back from my break, I could still sing well. Thank God.
All those years of technique, hard
Yeah,
work, they're still there.
the money was worth it. Yeah, I was busy. I have a son, I have a husband, and I was am dealing with the emotional toll that the pandemic has had on me and the physical
Of
toll it's
course.
had on me. It's been rough. It's been rough. Okay. But I am finding joy in my music, and it's really nice to be singing again. So yeah, I've taken like the studio class, the virtual studio class. I'm in the room by myself, but I'm with other musicians in my computer, and that has been really nice. My voice teacher was doing virtual lessons years ago, so at least that was already established.
That's good news.
It,
And
now it's
you're
a matter
traveling
of,
all over the country. You can take a lesson at any time. That's going to be something that we have a lot more access to moving forward.
yeah, her thing was I need, like when I first started studying with her, she's like, I need to get to know your voice in person a couple of times before I can trust my ears through, the computer. So now she knows my voice. It's totally cool. But yeah, I do a lot of I did a lot of singing to my son. I still do, and I will always a lot of singing to him. But of course, there have been some occasional things where opera companies want to put something up on their website, their social media. Like, yes, yes, I will do that, please. Okay. I did a couple of things for Christmas. I got to shoot two music videos and like lip sync. I did like recorded the audio first on the computer, and then I shot the music video and lip synced, and then I learned how to put them together. And I was like, this is cool. So I have a like Christmas concert video that was done through Tri Cities Opera also. And
It's
yeah,
great to have that company that you have that relationship with. And what's it
yes,
like going back to Tri Cities,
they
going through the program and then graduating, as it were, and then coming back as a principal artist? What's that like?
they've been so supportive. They trust me, and they trust my voice. And so it's been really great for them to like give me so many opportunities to test out new roles and to work. And when I go back, I know people there still. I know the city because I lived there for 2 years. I stay with the same family when I go every time.
That's great.
And like
The
even
family must love watching your career grow and watching
yeah,
your life grow.
it's been like they've been so supportive, and so that's excellent. Let's see what else. Yeah, just like a lot of stuff in the house. Only stuff in the house. I haven't performed outside like in a park or amphitheater. None of that because I've been, very busy otherwise in my life. And so I'm so looking forward to starting rehearsals for this
It will
handle.
come again, and I think that time to I think everyone, I almost everyone I've spoken to, they felt this kind of initial like some were depressed. I mean, like I was depressed. Like when it hit, I had 30 concerts canceled in the whole
Oh
season in
my
the
God.
summer, and it was just like day after day. I'm like, now what?
I
So
was
all my
I was
rehearsals, I'm used to 6 rehearsals a week, all gone. So I just started doing yard work, and I started like which I hadn't done in years, and getting out there and getting some fresh air, just thinking, and thinking what's the role of artists when there's no art being made, and it's really we think we've all had to come to terms with that even when we're not getting paid to make art, we're still artists.
I was very calm at first because none of my gigs were technically canceled. They were postponed and
The famous
still,
postponed.
right, they're still postponed. So there was no
Yes.
like, sorry, girl, you're not getting paid. It was more like, oh, we'll try for April, June. And so I was very much like, great, this will be over. What was
We were
I
all saying it'll be a couple
wrong?
months. We'll be ready to go.
But I went ahead and emailed those companies a couple of months ago and said, hello, I'm still here if you ever need me, and I hope we can still do that gig again. And yeah, and they're like, yeah, I hope so too. When we haven't forgotten about you.
It's
Whenever the
good.
world
That's a
reopens.
good lesson to all the young performers: is to
Right.
keep your contacts, keep making connections.
Yeah.
The music business is very much a person to person business.
Yeah, yeah. And people have to remember you. So if even a little email to say hello, I made it very, very short. Just a hello, um, hope you're well and safe. And I hope we can still make music together. Just a note. That's it. And they said, yeah, we we will. We'll call you.
Now, you told me before the show that your husband is in the medical professions, a doctor,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
saw firsthand the COVID, through the COVID period.
Insanity.
What's that been like?
It's crazy because we're right outside of New York City, and so this was the hot spot. Like we are in the part of the country that everyone was afraid of, and we were afraid too. And they didn't have proper PPE. I had friends from around the country making sewing masks and mailing them here for us. And I was just very grateful that nobody got sick. Still, even now, nobody in my family, we're all fine. And even though so they put him in the COVID ICU, which was like
Wow.
the most intense of intense. The good thing about that is the people working in ICU were extremely covered, like with the mask and the gown, and they had special ventilation in the room. And so they were more protected than other people in the hospital, even though they were literally working with the COVID patients. But it was very sad. I mean, just a lot of sad stories, especially in March, April, May.
Oh
Just
yeah.
very bad. But things started to get better, and because his whole hospital turned into one big COVID unit, they started reopening the other departments again, and we could eat outside at restaurants, and it was, and still none of us got sick. And it was like,
We're
okay.
all taking those precautions more and more, and I think that's really important as we learn more about the COVID virus and how we learn how to negotiate our lives with it, and still being careful. I mean, I've done a couple musical things where I've rehearsed with singers, but it's always been distanced
Yeah,
outdoors most of the time. Or
I take it very seriously. I have a
me too.
small little friend group, uh, two families, and with sons my son's age, and that's really it because we can't afford to be reckless.
I don't think anyone
It's
can
not
these
worth it
days.
either. It's not worth it.
And we're seeing that with that's the opera companies postponing. It's just a matter of where every week when they make a plan, it's like this summer I'm the director of at Ocean Grove. I must have planned 4 different seasons. They kept saying I started in December, then January, then
Yeah.
February, and every month they'll be like, okay, here's what we can do. We
Yeah,
come
you
up with
do
a
what you
plan.
can. You
We
do what
throw
you
the
can.
plan away. We start over again.
The opera, the Handel opera I am doing was originally, so it's a co-production between two companies, and it was originally going to be 6 small performances, socially distanced, outdoors with this company, break in between, and then 6 more with this company. And time went on. I'm like, haven't heard anything for a while. What's going on? And they sent us the music, and then the next day they said, "Here's an update. We're gonna be doing the whole show virtual, so all of the production will just happen in the first location, and Is that okay with you? And you'll get paid the same amount of money. So I said, okay. Yeah, I understand it. Of course, I want it because I wanted that cherry on top. I want the audience. I
Of
want to see the
course.
people. But I also want to live to next year. So I can wait. And I'm grateful to be able to use my gift and have other people hear it. And you know what? With it being recorded, a lot of my family can see it. They wouldn't be able to get there. So
That's one of the blessings of this whole
yeah,
virtual platform, like what we're doing right now, is that people across the world can see this,
we get
and
to
that
share
we
this with
take
so many more
time and
people.
geography out of the equation.
It's great. So yeah, I mean, there are benefits. There are benefits. So
And we will get back to live performing. It'll just take a little while.
I need my vaccine.
Me too. My mother is 79. She just got her date today.
Yes, my
So I
mom's getting
mean,
hers on the 8th. So I'm like, yay, mommy.
yeah, it's good. We want to protect those. The virus has been so challenging for the elderly population. That's very. They need to get that vaccine.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, let's just move forward safely. We're gonna get together and sing, and it's gonna be so amazing. Like way
Any
more.
other COVID period innovations? I know you said you were
Oh
working
yeah.
on a new exciting chapter.
Well, in July, I started studying voiceover acting. So I excuse me, of course now I have like mucus in my throat. So yes, I took an intro to voiceover class with a voice actress out of Los Angeles. And then after that was over, I was like, I want to explore what is going on in the New York scene, be on the East Coast time zone. That's where I live. And I ended up finding out about this audiobook narrating course. So that was about 8 weeks long, and they really take you from like the beginning. Okay, I don't know anything. I'm just gonna record on my phone. They're like, yes, start off with your phone. That's fine. We're going to read. We're just going to read. Okay. And they taught us about editing, about digital audio workstations, about microphones and which one works best for the type of space you have. And they listen to our samples and all, and they're still, even though the course is over, they're still like, hey, send us your stuff. We will help you. Here's more resources. So I've been working on that, and that's been really exciting. It's just another way to use my voice for art. And with this, I get to do it on my time because a lot of my time is dominated by my son. And so with this, I can put him to bed and I can record, which is pretty cool at my
Do you have any
house.
audio projects coming up? Anything until you have any?
So I have an ongoing, or we have an ongoing project. So I've been working with this company called the Oral Compass Projects. Now it's a musical organization that I did a concert with last February. And their goal is to perform works of lesser known or marginalized composers. And so I did a performance with them, and during the pandemic, of course, they've been like, okay, well, we need some virtual content. So they started doing this docu series featuring the music of African American composers and some poets as well. So in the fall, we did some interviews, and during the interview, it came up that I started studying voiceover. Okay.
Perfect.
So the gentleman whose project it is was saying, "Well, we're going to need some narrations for the like biography of these composers. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Yes, that would be excellent practice for me because I want to do commercial work, but I also want to do a lot of narrating. And what
Who
better
better to
way?
narrate something on music than a
Exactly.
professional singer?
So even for my audiobook narrating class, they're like, "Oh, record some 1 minute sample." I'm like, "Okay, I got a Jesse Norman book."
Perfect.
Let me record from Jesse Norman's book. And so and I've gotten to learn so much about some composers that are no longer with us and others that are alive and well and on Facebook and still, making good art. And I'm just learning so much about these people. So anyway, Oral Compass Projects. The first video came out on Martin Luther King Day, and there will be one every Monday until May. So it's also on YouTube. Check it out.
What does it feel like being an artist engaged in that community to actually be a part of such an important project?
It's awesome. It's really exciting, not just to, because initially I was in the project just to talk about my experience with singing some of the composer's music, which is nice, but getting to narrate and learn about their backstories and their upbringing and their education and their careers has been almost more valuable, because now I see these composers as humans more now more than musicians. I see them more as humans because they had their struggles and that informed their music. And now when I perform that music, that will inform my performance because I feel like I know the person better. So that's awesome.
As a conductor, I'm always, whether it's Beethoven or whether it's someone who's live and someone I can talk to, I
Right.
have to really get to know that person to really understand their music. You have to kind of get inside them a little bit, and I find that incredibly helpful.
It's
And that,
unfortunate that none of these composers were talked about in school. So the first, especially women composers, the first composer that the video came out, her name is Margaret Bonds, and I only knew her music in terms of what I like to refer to as the Black Soprano National Anthem.
that one song that made it big that everyone sings,
He's
right?
got the whole world in his hands. Because
I've heard it. It's wonderful.
when I learned it, it was presented to me as like, wait, you don't know this yet? We all know this. You have to. So I learned it. Okay. I know it now. But she's done so much more than that. Oh my goodness. Like amazing. And yeah, I'm so excited to learn more about these.
Who are some of the other composers that we should know about that may not be as famous?
H. Leslie Adams,
Sure.
there's Sean Okpebolo, there is Jacqueline Hairston. I performed her song cycle on Consciousness Streams and at with Oral Compass Projects last February. And she like got a chance to hear a recording and loved my interpretation. And
Now,
I
what did
just
that feel like?
how often do you it was amazing. It was so flattering because I don't get commentary from composers. Most of, these composers are dead. Puccini's long gone. Mozart's long gone. But Jacqueline Harrison is alive and well and working and teaching. Okay, and it was so beautiful
What a
to hear
gift!
that
And
she loved my, interpretation of her music. And it makes me want to perform living composers' music all the time now. All the time.
I love seeing underrepresented composers, and there's so many great voices out there, and it just deepens the American culture when we hear these great composers' works presented.
Yes, yes. And a lot of them worked with Langston Hughes.
Ooh.
Now, I knew all about Langston Hughes, but I didn't know. I feel like I didn't know anything because there's a video coming up about him, spoiler,
Oh,
because
good.
he worked with so many composers. And I, I just, I had no idea. There's just, wow, he's amazing. He was
His
amazing.
words are just so profound.
So
I've done so
beautiful.
many choral works by Langston Hughes, and
Yeah.
I'm always like, this man has such beautiful choice of words and
I
a
started
gift.
seeing like Ricky Ian Gordon said a lot of his poetry. And I think that's probably when I first got into his poetry as music, because I knew about him just as a poet before. But now I'm like, oh my goodness. He
So,
like
what
was
do you
all about
think
the music.
music's role in healing society can be? We're in such a challenging time, and there's so much discord. If you on social media, every time I turn on the TV, I'm like, oh, there's just so much. What do you think music's role to heal that, or to help heal that, it can be?
My dad posted a meme the other day and it said something along the lines of spend your money on music instead of therapy.
I agree with that 100%.
I and I was like, uh, can we have both?
That's true.
We don't know.
I tell you, some of
But
the hardest times I was conducting Verdi Requiem, I can get all my out on the stage on the Verdi Requiem, and but there's
I will
truth in
say,
that. There's a lining in that.
yeah.
As artists, we get it on the stage. We get these emotions out, and it's
Oh my goodness.
therapeutic for us.
Some of the most intense emotions I have felt are from performing music and from listening to music. And I always am so surprised when I listen to a song from long time ago that I haven't heard. One, how much it sticks with me, and two, how I can almost time travel and remember exactly where I was in life, physically, emotionally, how old I was, what I was going through. And I'm like, wow, I forgot about all those details. And this song took me back to a place in my life that I wasn't thinking about anymore. And it's just so beautiful. Like, music is so healing. And there's so many different styles of it. There's something for everyone. It's just beautiful. During the at the beginning of the pandemic, there's a home across the street from mine, and there's two apartments in it. And I started hearing someone playing the piano, and it sounded like a child or like just someone who's not great. Could have been me. And over the course of a couple of weeks, it got better, and I never saw the person. I still don't know who it was or is, because I don't hear them anymore playing it, but it just got better and better because they were just practicing, and I loved it because it brought me joy. We were stuck in the house and it was still cold at that time, and this person was using music for themselves, and it healed me, and I'm across the street. And I feel like, I don't know, I hope that maybe that happens when I practice and my neighbors hear me because I'm not quiet at all.
You're not going to be lyric soprano is not going to be quiet.
I don't sing late at night, but they hear it, okay? And I don't know, it's just, for me, it's very healing. And I just
It
love being transported to another time. I'm like, oh, I remember what I was going through when I first heard this.
isn't it amazing how music can it locks in the brain in such interesting ways. You can look at like late stage Alzheimer's patients who can't remember much of anything, but can remember like they can remember words to songs, and the brain just holds music in a different
It's
way.
amazing. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. So I also find it fascinating sometimes that I can like I'll work on an opera roll for months and memorize it and painstakingly. And and I later I will forget the words. But other songs that like stuck with me and I loved more, years will go by and I still remember it all. And I'm like, how? That is so weird. How the brain works.
How it
It's like I
locks in
still remember
time.
all of this. Like one of the first, okay, now this isn't a long aria, but Quel bel sogno di Doretta was my second aria, I think second or third aria I ever learned. Terrible technique, no technique, okay, just singing and holding high notes. That's it. But like I can never unmemorize that. Well, you know what else I can't unmemorize? Don't test me because I might fail. But the quintet from Carmen, oh Lord,
Once
that
you learn
thing.
that, you can't learn it. That's the hard
You
one.
cannot unlearn that thing. It is intense
I
because
love conducting that. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Just
once
flies
you
by.
get it, it's like, oh, I'm riding a horse. It's like
You either
great.
know it or you don't, right? That one.
Oh my god. Yeah, and actually the first time we did it as an ensemble, we hadn't rehearsed together. The conductor said like, I've never heard it that good for the first, like with a group that's never performed it before together. I've never heard it good that the first time that good. And we were like, good job everybody.
We have a
Because that
question
was
from the
hard to learn.
audience, and the question is, do you sing any other genres of music besides opera and classical?
I dabble. I dabble in jazz. Um, so okay, there's this organization out of Maryland called CAPA, which stands for the Coalition for African Americans in the Performing Arts. They do mostly classical music, but a lot of times, if they ask me to perform, I'll pick because they'll do like a concert where they want the first half classical, the second half, standards and stuff. And I pick a new one
Party
each time
arias. Yeah.
because I want to expand my repertoire that's like American standards and jazz. And my dad is like, "Oh, you're singing that? Here's a playlist of songs I want you to sing."
My mom does the same thing even today. She's probably listening to the broadcast right now.
He's like, "I want you to sing Stormy Weather and I want you to
Oh,
sing this and that." And my mother's like, "Where's that recording of Somewhere Over the Rainbow? It's so good." I'm like, I gotta do a better job of saving all my stuff in one spot so that it's like, well, also now it's like, what music do you have recorded that we can post? So it's like, okay.
good point.
But also, yeah. So I don't think I'm that great at it. But I have to I mean, jazz is all about the individual. Like, what can you do with it? And what I can do with it is add a little classical flair because that's what my voice wants to do anyway. So that's what I try to dabble in. It I never tried to sing pop music because it's just not my jam. I mean, I love listening to it, but when I do karaoke, I'm like, okay, which song has the highest notes? Because that's the only one. And karaoke, if you sing anything high, people are gonna be like, so I like to sing. What is it that I sing? Beyonce, "Love on Top." She goes, yeah. And then she modulates a million times, and the audience is like, "She's still going." I'm like, "Ew,
Well,
they
I
don't
can
know
go
I'm an
another
opera
third, no
singer."
problem, no worries.
Right. They don't know I'm an opera singer. Ha ha. So they're impressed. That's my party trick.
I
Great.
love. I did a Rigoletto in the cast for the We went to a karaoke bar. It was
Yeah.
such a blast to listen to these great singers just jamming out
Uh-huh. Oh my
rock
God.
songs, R&B, pop. It's a
I
blast.
love it. It is fun. But I think that like I take myself so seriously and critique myself to death that it squeezes all the fun out of trying to sing just a simple pop song. It's like because I'm like, it's not right. Am I off? I'm flat. I'm flat. I'm sharp.
It's my intonation, is my technique.
Girl, so
We
is
all do that.
the actual performer when she's not, in the studio. She's flat sometimes too, or out of
Take
breath.
away some of the Pro
Right.
Tools and the all those things that they can do in the studio, right?
My goodness. And that's why opera singers are such superheroes because we do it au naturale.
We have
Okay.
a question from the audience. How can a composer or a songwriter submit a song for your consideration?
Oh,
That's a good question, huh? Thank you, Barbara.
you can email me.
And this is a good
My
question. So, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find out more about your work?
Okay, well, I am most active on Instagram. It is a personal slash professional account. So I do put music, but I also put family things. I put food and fitness things as well. So my Instagram is Meroe Khalia, which is my first name and middle name. But my email address is meroesings@aol.com. That's MEROESINGS at AOL.com. So that's my music account. And so, composers out there, if you need a lyric soprano,
I'm new at the whole Instagram game. I just joined up this year. I had a rap slash R&B singer who's a 23-year-old young artist, and she was like, "What's your Instagram?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll do it."
I mean, it's just easy. And I don't want everyone on my Facebook. I do have a Facebook fan page, but I would say Instagram is like, I don't know why it's so
It
easy.
seems to be an easier way to do it.
It is. So yeah, that's how people can get in touch with me. I post fairly regularly about myself, singing videos, lots of Kai videos,
Oh.
food, things like that. I like to be well rounded. I'm a Libra, okay? I like to experience all of life. And I can't wait to start traveling again so I can experience more of it.
Those times are coming. They are coming soon. And
Love it.
what is something maybe you've learned during this past 6 months about either yourself or your art that you're going to take with you when we get back on the stage?
On the stage? Hmm.
That cherry on the top comes back for us.
What have I learned about myself? Hmm. Oh, I do not fit in the traditional path of a career in opera that I was trying to fit in. There's a box that I know you're familiar with that we try to fit ourselves into, checking off these categories, singing at these companies, and singing this type of rep. Um, and I tried to, to check off of all of those boxes, but that wasn't necessarily the path that was meant for me. And what I'm learning is that I have to create my own. And what I do is enough, and it is individual, and it looks different from everybody else, and that's why it's special. And so I will take with me my individuality because I'm no cookie cutter. Okay. My life doesn't look like everyone else's, and my voice doesn't sound like everyone else's. And that is a great thing. Okay.
And
Nobody
that
wants
is a
to.
valuable lesson for young people listening too. Is to, we say that that box has gotten smaller and smaller. I think
Oh,
more and more
yeah.
singers are making their own way these days. It's really
Yeah. That's the name of the game. And I think that that's the number one thing coming out of the pandemic for me is that we have now, like, we're empowered, and we're giving ourselves permission to try out whatever you want because you ain't got nothing to lose. Okay. You literally, no, like, barely anyone's hiring anyway. So try it, try out what you want to try out. Okay. If you want to sing your aria, like, people have been doing these TikToks. I'm not really on TikTok, but I've seen a lot of TikToks.
my
Okay.
daughters certainly are.
People have been opera singing rap songs. I'm talking about with obscene lyrics and everything. But hey, it's catchy.
You know what? If people can make it work and get their names out there, I say go for it. Social media is an interesting thing. It can be such a negative force, but it can also be such a positive force
It's
for
so
spreading your
powerful.
word.
Exactly. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for social media. So I like to use it as a tool for good, a tool for art and for feeling, helping people to feel good because there's too much negativity out there.
Mary, thank you so much for joining us on Music Matter. Really appreciate your time. We can't wait to see you back on the stage doing what you do.
Thank you so much,
And I
Maestro.
hope we get to work together soon
Yes,
again as
that would
well.
be awesome. If you ever need a me or Countess, okay, or Traviata, any of those, you know
Well,
where to
those
find me.
those days will come, and I can't wait to make music with you again.
Likewise. Have a great evening. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Thanks. We're so appreciative you're here tonight. Our next show is going to be this Saturday. We have a special show. We have internationally acclaimed conductor Nir Cabaretti, who is the music director of many orchestras, but the Santa Barbara Symphony is one of his main affiliations. He's conducted all over the world, and we're delighted that he's joining us to talk about innovation during this time of COVID. So thank you so much, and remember, keep music alive. Good night.